Now these girls, how old?
I'm doing 13 to 15 years old.
13 to 15 years old.
Right, that's what I'm doing, 13 to 15.
You're watching footage of an alleged child trafficker negotiating with someone he thinks is a customer, but the purported buyer is actually an undercover agent.
Y a él le gustan así, como te dije, le gustan pequeñas, frescas.
This remarkable video is featured in a new documentary called The Abolitionists. Crime Watch Daily's Melissa Moore goes inside the film, featuring ex-CIA agent Tim Ballard and his team of highly trained operatives who crisscross the globe, rescuing children from sexual slavery.
We all know the term child sex trafficking, but you see up close and personal.
You know, I sometimes like to use the term child sex slavery, where they force them to do sexual acts on video. And I'm talking, these kids are as young as 7 years old or younger.
Tim is the founder of Operation Underground Railroad. On this mission, the unit heads to the Colombian town Cartagena, where cutting deals isn't limited to dark alleys.
We have to pretend to be sex tourists, talking to taxi drivers, sitting on the beach and waiting for a vendor to come up and start offering us everything from drugs to adult women, and eventually it comes up, well, how about children? At that point, we tell them that we want to have a party. We want to have a sex party, and we want children to be the objects of lust for this party.
For this job, the alleged traffickers think they are bringing kids to a party where the children will be brokered to a bunch of American pervs. But first, the deal is struck, seen here on hidden camera.
Le va a gustar al jefe.
Oh, sí. Sí, sí, sí. ¿Cuántos años tiene?
The big night comes. Tim and his agents spin an elaborate web. No detail is left to chance.
We're gonna make a sign that says Feliz Cumpleaños a Maria. We'll get some balloons.
Those girls can do that.
Yeah, so we're gonna put that on the door, just in case, and that's for looky-loos outside who see 30 minors walking into a house.
Tim briefs the team on how the sting will unfold.
The rendezvous point, which a lot of you know is the hotel at the end of this street. Don't talk about that outside this room.
Then it's party time. The girls are herded like cattle. Traffickers thinking they're about to make a ton of cash, charging $300 per girl and $1,000 for a virgin.
Everyone's coming in.
Pequeña, le va a gustar al jefe.
Oh, sí, con los shorts.
Sí. Eso es.
¿Cómo se llaman? Una piscina ahí, comida también tenemos. ¡Hola, muchachas!
14, 12, bien. Ah.
¿La de 14? ¿Qué
No,
hace?
sí.
Ella hace todo. The traffickers, in addition to the 12 and 13-year-old girls, brought these adult prostitutes who kind of hovered over the girls, kind of groomed them, showed them what they're supposed to do, and kept an eye on them. And these poor little girls are kind of mixed and mingled within this larger body of adult prostitutes.
Then on cue, Tim tips his glasses, giving the Colombian cops the signal to raid the phony party. Once the guys are arrested, Colombian Child Protective Services march in to take charge of the kids. The Cartagena mission is a success, with 5 alleged traffickers arrested and the 29 kids rescued. These youngsters having no idea Tim has saved them from their alleged abusers.
Imagine that for the children, as you're doing this operation, they think that you're the bad guys.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's one of the most difficult parts of the job, because to maintain our security, we get arrested with the rest of the actual bad guys.
Have you ever seen a child realize that you were their rescuer?
One time, it was October of 2014. It was the largest child rescue that I've ever heard of. We rescued over 120 victims.
In this video, a different mission. The alleged traffickers brought children to an island thinking they were going to partner up with the undercover agents to build a child sex hotel. But their plot was foiled. The bad guys were arrested, and somehow the kids learned that the Americans were actually their saviors.
All the kids, they're in these cabanas, and they run to the windows, and there's a screen, and they're crying, and they're singing, and they're saying thank you. It was so emotional. I mean, my hardened operators are crying. I'm crying. One of my guys behind me, I remember, grabs my shirt. And he's pulling on it, and he's crying. And he says, you're hearing the sound of freedom.
But saving these kids is only part of what Operation Underground Railroad does. They also provide healing for the kids who will never forget the horrors they endured. Back in the United States, Elizabeth Smart, who was abducted as a teen and sexually assaulted, is joining up with this bold rescue operation.
How did she team up with you?
I think what really attracted her to what we were doing was that we were going in and trying to rescue kids. You know, and she told me, she said, you know, I sat there for 8 months hoping someone would just drop in out of the sky and rescue me. She said, you know, I want to go back to the place in California where I was held captive. It was so empowering. And then she took us back to the camp where she was held and say, yeah, that's where he held me. Well, that guy's in jail, you know, for life.
Running Operation Underground Railroad is expensive, so to help cover costs, Tim launched a CrossFit franchise, a place where the agents work out to prepare for their missions.
And so CrossFit actually subsidizes the operation.
That's right, we have 110 members and growing every week, and all the proceeds go right back into the rescue operations.
And some of the money is used to help victims move on to a better life.
We have victims who aren't even aware of what opportunities are in front of them. What can they do? We have victims who want to become a beautician, who want to go back to school and learn trades. So we can help provide those education services that they need.
Después de eso quiero estudiar turismo porque me gustan los idiomas y ese es mi sueño.
During the making of The Abolitionists, 57 children were rescued, and 7 criminals are now facing prison sentences from 20 years to life. And while the film documents a moment in time of humanity at its worst, beyond the cameras, Tim will continue fighting to save its most innocent victims.